You've been running around, running around, running around, throwing that dirt all on my name. 'Cause you knew that I'd call you up. You've been going around, going around, going around every party in LA. 'Cause you knew that I'd be at one. Oh, I know that dress is karma, perfume regret. You got me thinking about when you were mine. Oh, and now I'm all up on you, what you expect. But you're not coming home with me tonight. You just want attention, you don't want my heart. Maybe you just hate the thought of me with someone new. Yeah, you just want attention, I knew from the start. You're just making sure I'm never getting over you. You've been running around, running around, running around, throwing that dirt all on my name. 'Cause you knew that I'd call you up. Baby, now that we're right here standing face to face, you already know that you won. Oh, I know that dress is karma, you regret. You got me thinking about when you were mine. You got me thinking about when you were mine. Now I'm all up on you. What you expect, oh, baby? But you're not coming home with me tonight. Oh, no. You just want attention, you don't want my heart. Maybe you just hate the thought of me with someone new. Yeah, you just want attention, I knew from the start. You're just making sure I'm never getting over you. What are you doing to me? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing to me? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing to me? What are you doing? What are you doing to me? What are you doing? I know that dress is karma, perfume regret. You got me thinking about when you were mine. And now I'm all up on you, what you expect. But you're not coming home with me tonight. You just want attention, you don't want my heart. Maybe you just hate the thought of me with someone new. Yeah, you just want attention, I knew from the start. You're just making sure I'm never getting over you. Over you. What are you doing? Hey. What are you doing? What are you doing, love? What are you doing to me? What are you doing? Yeah, you just want attention, I knew from the start. You're just making sure I'm never getting over you.
Hey everybody, so unfortunately while I was recording this, something happened with the rest of, or I had stopped it and then I started again. Something happened with the rest of my recording, and I didn't want to just snap from this flat coloring to the finished piece. And I was really proud of the finished piece, and I didn't want to redo it, so I'm just gonna explain sort of what I did for any of the people who are artists who want to know how to do the things that I did. And if not, you can just skip to the end of the video where I'll show the full piece. But yeah, so right after this part, I made a background, which was just a dark background because I wanted the light to be coming from right here. So I wanted the rest of the scene, like I wanted an intense light to be right here. So I made the rest of the scene really dark. The first thing I do is color the skin, because that definitely gives me a little of an idea of where the light source is. A better idea, I guess you could say, of the light source. And so here I just used this color that I always have when I'm using this color skin. You can't really see it because it's so light, but they're just peaches. This is the color right here. And yeah, I just colored in places that I thought would be darker, and then I made this part. I used the blur tool and just blurred this part a little bit. The rest is pretty self-explanatory. I also, this might be a little bit confusing. So I have this layer, and then I made a new layer, And then I did clipping group. I'm not really, like, I just do new layer. Oh, well, hold on, because it's right underneath that. So I do a new layer right here and see how it's just like this. And then I do clipping layer, and then it makes it pink right here. And that means that all of these layers are attached to this layer. And that makes it so it'll only go where the skin color is. It won't go anywhere else. So once I make the skin color invisible, everything else goes away. There she is. Or if I made it so that they weren't clipping groups, the color would be everywhere. It's just a really easy way to color. Make that a clipping and get rid of that. So yeah, I made this one a little bit darker, and then I did this one as well. And I made it a clipping group too, and I went up to mode and I made it multiply. Typically it's set at normal, but I made this one multiply so that it's the same color as this when I draw with it like this, except it comes out, it multiplies over the color. And as you can see right here, it looks very different. I did a little bit of color right here and in some spots, but then I blurred it out. So it's a little bit darker, but not super dark. Kept it there. Just in places that definitely do not touch light, I put a little bit of that on there. Not a major step. See, it still looks great that way. It just adds a bit more depth to it. And most of the pieces that I did in this color, I did blur. This was the only piece in this part, I believe, that I did not blur. In this part under the neck here. But everywhere else, I blurred it in some shape or form. And next, I just did the clothes because it's kind of a basic thing that's not really necessary. I mean, it's necessary to make it a full piece, but it doesn't impact the piece too much. So I just did it back here and over there. The next piece I did was the hair, and this definitely was the most challenging part. So the first thing I did was did this really dark color, and I used this, just the normal sketch with this color, and I'm using a mouse right now. I did it with my tablet, but I just like sketched some colors like, ooh. Oh, I'm still in that layer. I just sketched some colors like this, definitely with my drawing pad and my stylist. And then another cool thing that I used a lot is when you're using the sketch piece, instead of clicking to the eraser, you can click to this. I usually do it when I'm working with hair, just because you deal with a lot of pieces and it's a little bit easier. But it basically just erases the pieces. It definitely looks really good when you add a fringe effect. I'm not really using that in this one, but when you use a fringe effect, it makes a difference, in my opinion. But we're not using a fringe effect. And then after I did this, because I wanted it to seem like there was a light somewhere off of where you can see over here, I added this brighter piece, which was in orange, but it was the layer set to luminosity, which just makes everything brighter. So this isn't the exact orange that I used. I believe I used something a little more like this. Actually, no, I used this orange, colored it in, and then turned the opacity down. See, it's like super high. I'm just going to turn it back down. To give it a little more light, make it a little more bright. I don't do this with the skin, and that's just the way that I draw, but I'm sure you should make like brighter pieces over here. But the skin's already really pale, so I don't really do much. After that, I just go in doing basically the same thing. The luminosity still is very high, but I used a lighter color. I know it doesn't look like it because of the luminosity. Actually, let's do normal. See, it was like a darker color, but when I do luminosity, it makes it really light and kind of gives it like this fiery color, which I really like. I like making red hair brighter. And yeah, that was the hair, and I believe that was pretty much it with this piece. I left everything else pretty much alone because when I was actually, just kidding. I did a little, this you can't really tell, but I did a little bit with the eyes just to make it look, like put a little bit more shading onto it. Doesn't really make much of a difference. Usually when I draw eyes, I don't leave these in with the line art, but I did this time and it kind of messed it up, so I just left it the way it was. But I don't think it really takes away too much from the picture. But when I was originally drawing this, I wanted the focus to be on her face and kind of her hair a little bit, and then as you explore the picture, you see the rest of what's going on. And so I didn't really add much detail to her clothing or anything because I wanted the focus to be her face, and definitely her hair now is a lot of the focus, but everything else I didn't really want people to pay attention to, so I didn't do too much work on that. But that is the first piece of, I guess, a speed paint, even though I ended up not making a speed paint by talking because the files got messed up. However, this is what she looks like. I think I did pretty well. And it was all inspired off of Attention by Charlie Puth. I really love that song. I keep listening to it. And I was drawing this while I was listening to it. So I hope you enjoy. Let me know if me talking at the end helped you, and if you want to hear me talk about my art again or kind of do a little tutorial on things. If you can tell by the beginning of this video, I typically draw everything traditionally, like with pencil and paper, just because I have a small Wacom pad and it's a lot easier for me to just draw it on a piece of paper. And then I take a picture of it or scan it and then draw it in here. So let me know if you want a video of me drawing it traditionally. But yeah, this is it. I'm also going to try to stream like twice a week, me drawing or gaming or something on Twitch, and I'll leave my Twitch in the description below. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
You just want attention, you don't want my heart. Maybe you just hate the thought of me with someone new. Yeah, you just want attention.